Hi, I'm Brian Dunn, and welcome to the most important podcast ever. What makes it so important? It's not about me, it's about you. This podcast is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, the moments of resilience, the lessons learned, and the small acts that made a big difference. From retail floors to boardrooms, we'll share the untold stories that shape lives and careers. This week, our guest is Kate Asaraf. She has a remarkable story to share with us. She has started a number of businesses. She's a mom. Kate is an example of somebody that is touching all the quadrants in life. And I'm just so thrilled to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us, Kate. Maybe you could say a few words of introduction.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me on the most important podcast ever.
Yes, well, now it is because you're here.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Asaraf. I'm the CEO and founder of Dip Hair Care. And the whole point of Dip is that I was so frustrated with sustainability and how it was being presented to people. They were guilted into buying things for the sake of saving the earth and often left very disappointed by what they purchased. And so I've been in the beauty industry for about 20 years, and I knew that I could make something not only plastic free, but that would knock someone's socks off and really inspire them to do long-term change.
What does DIP stand for? I presume it's an acronym.
It's not.
No.
But I lost a friend recently, and when someone was talking during her eulogy, and they said that she would always talk about dips, and what that was a dream in progress. So in her honor, I'm adopting dream in progress to my brand.
Okay. How much do I love that? What a great name. So 20 years in beauty marketing for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what made you start questioning the industry or thinking there's space here for something different? What gave birth to the DIP?
Oh man. Well, there's two things. One, I being in beauty marketing, you just know behind the curtain how deceptive everything is. So you'll see, back in the early 2000s when I started my career, there was Photoshop, just touching up models to oblivion, beyond reality. Now we have AI, so it's a little different. I had another job where early in my career where I had to draw wrinkles on a model's face, and then she would go on camera and they would be instantly removed by somebody on camera with a magical cream. There are many instances like that throughout my career. It always made me uncomfortable, but it was kind of an unspoken thing behind the scenes. This is how it's done. This is how you sell things. And in 2014, I was pregnant with my first son, and I stumbled upon this information that plastic not only was accumulating on the earth, but it was also messing with our hormones and our endocrine systems, and also plant and animal life. And that was, when you're pregnant, you become a vessel for someone else, right?
Yeah.
And everything you take in, affects your children. And I started to, I made myself a really beautiful tinfoil hat, and I bought into the anti-plastic movement, and I wanted everything to protect my family from it once I heard how bad it was. But I was a little bit early. It hasn't really come to the surface until I'd say fairly recently, the past few years, that plastic's not being recycled. Okay, so it's accumulating. That's one scary thing. But the even scarier thing is like what it's doing to our brains, our bodies, our blood, our tissues. And even with all of that knowledge, people still are a little bit plastic blind and don't make the choices, that are plastic free.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's very difficult to reduce your plastic.
Yeah, it's like trying to buy something not made in China.
Right. It's exactly right.
It's very, very, very hard to do. So is it fair to say that DIP was born of part inspiration, part frustration?
Yeah. I'd say 90% frustration though, because I'd been trying to reduce my plastic, in the kitchen and in my personal care. And the thing is that I learned something I don't really like to admit about myself, but there was no way that I was switching to shampoo and conditioner bars the way they left my hair. I want to be eco-friendly, but I don't want to look eco-friendly. And I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel that way and are unwilling to admit it.
I agree. I'm that people. I'm people. I
But you're
don't know.
admitting it. You're
I
you're
know, but I mean, for a long time, it was like, okay, I'm reducing my plastic everywhere, and look at me, I'm reducing my plastic. But in the shower, when no one's looking, I'm using my like really expensive bottled stuff. And so, there was a little bit of character flaw in question there when you're when no one's looking, it's what you do.
there's also some practical utility. If
Totally.
your hair's not left looking the way you want it to look, that's a fail too.
I agree. I don't I it's not enough for it to be plastic free for me. It's not like replacing a Ziploc bag or paper towel. Like I have to walk around with this hair. It comes with me everywhere I go. So I was very, very frustrated with the options that were out there because it felt like they were so concerned with making things plastic free that they forgot the end user and the hair.
It's such a big industry.
Mhm.
Were there a lot of barriers to getting involved?
Well, that's where being in the industry for a long time helps, right? Because the barriers are kind of I could knock those down pretty fast. I had a lot of really solid relationships in the beauty industry and manufacturing, especially, and with different chemists. So I knew exactly which chemist I wanted to use, and I knew how to negotiate. Having him make bars only for me, and having low MOQs at my factory when I started with a contract manufacturer. So
What's an
the barrier.
MOQ? What's an
What's that?
MOQ?
Oh, minimum order quantity.
Got it.
Sorry.
Got it.
So, a lot of times when you start something new, the hardest part is you have to buy 10,000 of them
Yeah.
just to start.
Right,
But because
right.
I knew, the factory really well and the chemist really well, I was able to negotiate very small, orders so I could get this off the ground, without the barriers that a lot of other people face.
I saw a quote, as I was reading about you that I wanna get it right, traditional beauty marketing often treats women as one-dimensional.
Oh, yeah.
Can you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen like a perfume ad or a hair care ad, I mean, the women are as flat can be in that in marketing. But the women I know are very, very funny and silly and like prismatic. There's
Right.
no, there's, I don't know a one-dimensional woman who like only cares about their hair. They care about their hair and, it's they care about their makeup and other things. Like
Yeah.
I find it really, really funny. And just to see how beauty marketing talks to women and how they don't really credit them with having any kind of intelligence. And every woman I know is so freaking smart. I don't
Right,
understand.
right, right. I, uh, I'm sitting here thinking, all these creams I've bought for my eyes, it was
Yeah.
just a bunch of marketing BS.
There are actually maybe, maybe. There's certainly some things out there that work, but a lot of times someone will take a marketing active and put it in just a base cream, and
Right.
and it doesn't really do what they say it does.
Yeah, I've read a lot about that actually. Um, can you talk a little bit about the, obsessive, and I'm quoting you, obsessive testing process,
Yeah.
the second rodeo for us?
Yeah. Well, so hair for me is, and a lot of women and men, I think, is very emotional. And I knew that that was like how I wanted to get people excited about going plastic free. And so in order for it to be truly emotional, you have to understand like that one bar has to work across all different hair types. That's like a very important thing. Because once bars are in the shower, a whole family has to be able to use it.
Right.
If you separate it into different hair types and all these things, it complicates the experience because there's no bottle. So there's nothing to read on the bar to make sure you're
Right.
using the right one.
Right.
So
Right.
I wanted to make sure that with the formulation that it was so good that it would work with someone with like straight, almost like stringy, I don't want to say limp hair, but really like fine hair, and then someone who had type 4 kinky coily hair. And if those two people had, 6 kids and all different curl patterns in between, it would work for everyone. And in order to make it like that, I went through probably 40 iterations with my chemist, and I'm very lucky that I have a network of really amazing people who are they're all a lot of them are in New Jersey, so they're very comfortable telling me the truth and ripping apart a bad formula. So I went through probably about 400 sampling bars to make sure that the final formula was the one that really worked for everyone,
And including yourself.
including myself. Yeah. Yeah.
And are you thrilled with it?
I'm thrilled with it. Even though I was thrilled with it though, my teeth still chattered like crazy before I, launched. Because
Oh,
you could
of
be
course.
so confident in what you're building, but you really don't know until the public receives it what it's gonna be like.
Yeah. You don't really know until the register rings.
You really don't know. I mean, honestly, like it's you could think you have the best thing out there and it doesn't matter. Um, the public will tell you.
Oh, and brutally,
Yeah.
brutally. Um, would the iteration you have now, you were
Mhm.
very open, and I appreciated this about talking about your first business.
Yeah.
It was a learning time for you. Do you think Dip would exist without the lessons learned in the first business?
No. No. So for anyone listening, I had a similar business earlier. I had a business partner, it just didn't work out. It's long and short of it. But
Yep.
that first business, what I did, I put so much of my identity in it. And it's kind of the reason I'm a little bit of background founder. I'll show up here and there, pepper myself in here and there. But
Yep.
when I the first business closed, I felt like a piece of me had been ripped apart. And when I started this one, I made sure that that was never going to be the case. I'm not going to be in the business. I have to like separate the two,
Right.
and
Right.
that was one of the biggest lessons. The other one is that like I could do it myself. I didn't realize that before.
Right. Right. It's one of the traps, isn't it? It's
Yes.
really easy to get sucked in and have your self-image so tightly connected with the
Mhm.
business that they're one and the same, and when in fact they're not one and the same.
Yeah. And the shame of closing a business is gut wrenching. Like it feels horrible. It feels like everyone that's ever seen you is looking at you as a failure, even if that's not true. Like
Right.
the shame of it, it was so crippling.
Right.
I wanted to just, implode.
And did it feel that way because you were sure you were on the right path or it was a good idea?
Yes. It felt well, I mean, and also because everyone I knew, I very, very lucky that everyone I knew from like people I knew from kindergarten all the way to like even professors I had in college, like every job I've ever had, someone from every chapter of my life purchased from my first company. And I felt very embarrassed that like literally I was pushed out on stage to sell to everyone, and then I was like, "Oh, just kidding. It's all closed down." And then I was gonna do it, and then I had to do it again. It was like so humiliating. It was only humiliating to me. I didn't realize that the outside optics. People told me later, like that, they thought it was very cool that I picked myself back up and did it again and
Yeah.
started from scratch. But internally, I thought everyone thought I was the most embarrassing person ever.
And it's because you're driven and it's because you're smart and you know you have a good thing. And I completely understand the psychology of being embarrassed by it. But really what we've learned is the key to failing is fast failing,
Yeah.
is get your idea out there. And clearly, I shouldn't say clearly, it seems to me that Dip was heavily informed by that first experience.
It was. It was, and one of the biggest things I learned from the first business was who I wanted to support in the next one. So if you go to our website and you do any kind of deep diving, you'll see I do a lot to drive business to independent retailers around the United States. And I learned that from my first business. I learned that that the refill store community was my people. And what refill stores are is like, you know, you have an empty jug of laundry detergent or hand soap, and you can go to a refill store and you can just bring your empty jug and fill it back up. So you're not constantly buying the garbage. And when I say buy the garbage, I mean the packaging. Like you don't have to keep buying laundry jugs; you just refill them.
Right.
And they have all sorts of things in all the different refill stores. But what I found is that I was so moved by that type of person that opens that type of store in like an age of hyper consumerism and convenience. Like it's very punk rock to open a refill store. And I didn't really know how big that network was until I had my first business. So when I started my second business, I was like, I'm going to do everything I can and drive all my energy into getting people into these stores because they are at the grassroots and communities all over the place, really preaching sustainability and getting people to make the changes.
Is that heavily word of mouth?
Yeah,
And so one of the things that I found like a breath of fresh air, and it was through all the things I read about you in your various interviews, is that you're not interested in growth for the sake of growth.
that's true.
And that is such a breath of fresh air. I wonder if you could flesh that out for us a little bit.
Sure. So I think growth is like I call it like a poisonous dangling carrot, right? Like you will even when you catch it, you will not be happy. The things that drive people to run a business. I know money, of course, money is important to everyone, but I don't think that it ever really makes you that happy or that satisfied. And I know for myself, like I have two children, and they're still little, they're 8 and 10, my boys. And like the more I grow, the more I lose time with them. And that's
Yeah.
like, I don't know anyone on their deathbed that says they wish they grew more or spent more time at work or fussing over spreadsheets or dealing with retailers and all those
Yeah.
things. And
The-
and I think if you kind of remove your own ego, and something I learned from when I closed my first business, I became very different. My second business, you kind of take your ego out of it. You can be happy with just a business that does really well and it kind of has lateral sales month after month.
yeah. And it does really well. And it does good too, because you're going after plastic in an interesting way, and you are really helping out mom and pop Main Street retailers.
Yeah. Can I tell you my favorite thing?
Please.
As a company, we've redirected over $5 million back into mom and pop shops around the United States.
Wow.
Like, that's a big deal to me.
It's
Like,
a huge deal. It's
it's
a
so cool.
it's a huge deal. So they're going to start erecting statues to you, the mom and pop, and then your ego's going to get out of control
I
again.
can't wait.
Growth, growth, growth.
Everyone believed my no ego plan. It turns out I just wanted statues the whole
It was
time.
brilliant. It was evil genius all along. Do those local stores represent something more to you
Yeah.
than just distribution outlets?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I know most of them by name, the store owners by name, and I know a lot about them. As a company, I throw events where I invite them and get them all to meet each other. And they are beyond community. They are, for me, I see them as the last truth tellers in commerce because there's so many opportunities being an online business to like deceive customers, to fake reviews, to use AI, to overpromise, underdeliver, to make it impossible for a customer to reach you for a refund or customer service. There is so much gobbledygook digital
Oh yeah.
pollution out there. And you know where there's none of that, where all the noise kind of floats away is when you open the door to a small business and walk in there and you ask someone, hey, you've tried every version of shampoo and conditioner bars. I keep seeing all of these ones claim they're the best. Which one did you put on your shelf? And many times the answer is dip. Um, same thing with like any other, like say you're trying to get rid of paper towels. Paper towels are so expensive and wasteful, and pretty much, I buy them very infrequently because I can't find a substitute for making bacon and take the grease off of bacon. But for everything else, the paper towel is pretty much obsolete in my household. And, the refill store is where I learned about, Swedish dishcloths. There's so many, these refill stores help people make solutions that make them happy and inspire long-term change. So if I, as a person, can get someone in one of those stores, it's like a win for me.
This podcast is hosted. Sean, one of our producers here, also happens to be the proprietor of Deja Blue House of Coffee in beautiful downtown Alexandria. Best cup of coffee in, Alex.
Oh, man.
And I love coming into this store. When I first came into this store, I felt like I was home.
That's amazing.
And it is. It's really cool. So I'm totally riding that wave with you. I think it's awesome. Do you think?
Wait, can I ask you real quick? Are you in Alexandria, Virginia?
No, Alexandria, Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. That's right.
Minnesota,
Okay.
Alexandria, Minnesota. I've scaled a big company. And one of the things that you talked about is, can you scale? Can you grow large and maintain your soul? And I think that's the biggest challenge.
I think so too.
And I'm not saying anybody hasn't grown with that. I'm just saying it's the hardest thing there is.
I agree. And I think as you grow, it gets more and more complicated. It gets more and more, sometimes, I think the more you grow, the more pressure compounds on you, the more people you need, the more salaries you have to pay. Like, I have a team of 7, and everyone is so critical and they're so important. And they're all kind of my favorite people. I love working with them. But
doesn't that make such a difference?
But the idea of having to expand the team and maybe messing the culture that we really love so much, or being so detached from, once it kind of there gets to be so many levels in a bigger company. It's hard to maintain the culture that we have right now.
It's the hardest thing there is to do when you scale a business, and to scale it with quality people.
Yeah.
I think it's so powerful. And you're doing all this while you've got 2 wonderful sons, 8 and 10 years old. And you had a quote that I really love. It stayed with me. I love being a mother. I tolerate being an entrepreneur.
That's true.
I just think that's like so grounded. Has being a mom changed your attitude or your definition of success?
Yeah, it's changed how I approach things. I think if I wasn't a mother and I had more hours in the day, I think I would approach things probably chase that growth. I'd probably still be chasing the growth. But you realize when it's a trade-off of a time with your family, you just soften, I guess. Like, I'm not I like having a softer approach to business. I like having more communal part of the business as well. And I love setting an example where my sons can see what the impact of what we're doing. It's really important.
I think that's really cool. I also think you're at the front end of something really interesting. And if not the front end, B, C, D, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
of businesses with AI coming in as it is. I think businesses that can have a reason to exist, that not hide from their humanity, but embrace it.
Yeah.
I think that's a real competitive advantage.
Thank you. Do you want to hear something else that's cool?
Yeah, please.
If the internet disappeared, Dip would still be fine. I and I think that's really a
Did
fun
you build
thing.
it that way on purpose?
I did. I did. If I had it my way, I wouldn't be on the internet at all. I would hop in a time machine, go back to the '90s, listen to grunge, and go into the mall.
I I at one point in my life I was on the board of directors for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Oh, cool.
and I had a deep appreciation for the whole grunge thing. It was
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting time. Um, have you learned to separate urgency from importance? Is that really what you're
Oh,
talking about here?
yeah, I think so. I think I can you can also choke urgency and let urgency just, like, go play on its own. Like, nothing's I'm not a brain surgeon, I'm selling shampoo and conditioner, so there's not a lot of urgency that really matters in this world, but I know it's a very American thing to put a lot of work pressure on yourself, and I
Yep,
understand that, but, like, urgent it things that used to frighten me, they don't frighten me anymore. Even, like, when it comes to, like, taking on a little bit of debt just in order to get over, so that used to scare me so crazy, but then I didn't realize that there's, like, a healthy debt to income ratio
absolutely.
that you can deal with.
Absolutely.
These are only the things that you kind of learn as you go, and you have to, like, retrain your brain to think in I always explain it as, like, business money is very different than, like, employee money. Like, it's a different attitude.
Does it have like a monopoly feel to it? What do you say?
A little bit, sometimes I'm paying, the just yesterday, I had to pay a $35,000 bill, and had if I had to do that in my personal life, I would be freaking out. Like, doing it through it's just a different thing, but you have to learn to think in business money, if that makes sense.
That's yeah, no, I understand it. It's I do understand it. I uh I remember talking to one of my financial people
Mhm.
at, at Best Buy, and we were talking about basis points, and he said, it's only 2 basis points. And I said, yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 basis points on a large company, pretty soon we're talking about real money.
Yeah.
And I think the world, governments, I think everybody'd be a little better off if we thought about the money as being real.
Yeah, it's true.
That's
It's true.
my teachable point of view for the
Yeah.
episode.
My husband
Um,
always tells me that. He's like, that's
yeah.
a
What matters to you more now than it did 10 years ago when your first child was born?
Uh, reputation. I think reputation matters a lot when you're a parent. And it's a tug of war being a founder because, part of the expectation is that you're in the front and you have to build like a foundery personality.
Yep,
But at the end of the day, I don't know if I can create a new personality for myself. And I don't want to have this like fabricated CEO personality. It's just not
right,
really my style. But I also am like very, very conscious of um, it's kind of weird, like, putting yourself out there too much and say on, like, social media or whatever, because my sons still have to live in this world. Like, what if I make a misstep and
right,
my sons
right,
have to what if I get canceled one day and my sons have to deal with that at school? I think
right.
about those things because, in this current climate, you're, like, always one misstep away from
Yeah, absolutely. You're one random tweet away from trouble,
I know, so I
always.
try and it's a cultural thing 'cause I'm Persian, so, like, the evil eye is, like, something I think about, like, I try and not invite too much.
Oh, I bet you have a lot of interesting perspectives, but that's for a different episode. And I'd love to hear them actually. We'll have you back. Um, in a world constantly pushing towards more, what have you learned about living well with less? Do you think you're living well with less?
I do. I actually think less is, um it's the new luxury, I guess. Once you realize your day can be happy without the extra things, without the everyday deliveries, without the I don't know, the dopamine hits of adding to cart, I think
Yeah.
you can really start to, I don't know, have some clarity and enjoy the birds, the
Yeah.
sun on your face,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
smell of autumn, like these other things that stuff really distracts you from.
I think that's an extraordinarily healthy perspective
I hope so. It's the only
that
one
you
I got.
have. And it's excuse me, and it's authentically yours. Um, where can people find your products? We have viewers all over the country. Where can they find your products?
Okay, so you can go to dipalready.com. And then if you're feeling a little saucy, you can go in the store locator and see if there's a surf shop, a refill store, or a salon near you that has dip and support your local entrepreneur in your town. Or you can order right from the website. And if you want to, check us out on Instagram or TikTok, we're at Dip Already.
If you will be kind enough to send me the places you want the public to find you, I'll make sure we tag them all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can also find me, Kate Asaraf, on LinkedIn. It's where I do my best patting myself on the back.
Well, good. Listen, I think you're authentically yourself, as we all are, whether or not we want to admit it. And I also think you've got a really wise point of view for a younger person.
Thank you.
And I think it's really cool. And I wish you the very best. And I'm so grateful that you've been on with us tonight.
Me
And
too.
I would love to have you on again. We're going to keep an eye on your business and watch
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Let's do it. Let's
All
do it
right.
again.
Well, thank you. I'm going to take that as a hard yes. Is
Sure.
there anything we didn't talk about that you wish we did?
I'm just gonna say real quick to anyone who's not a believer in shampoo and conditioner bars, they're so good. We've never had to advertise. They're word of mouth business, and now the sales, even though we don't advertise, I have my own factory and my own team, and the sales support it, even though we never talk about how great they are. So I just want to throw that in there in the end.
And it's literally a bar.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
So,
You can try.
okay. Hey, I will use it and I
Yeah,
will give you a testimonial for sure.
you have great hair.
Aren't you the kindest thing ever? And if you don't mind my saying, so do you. I noticed it right away. Thank
Thanks.
you. Uh, Kate, thank you so much for your time.
Likewise.
That is it for our episode today. And I really enjoyed the conversation with Kate. A huge thanks to her for sharing her story, which is, I think, just scratching the surface and is really cool. But an even bigger thanks to all of you for tuning in and listening. If you've enjoyed this conversation, share it with someone who might find it meaningful. You can watch and listen on our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. And we are anywhere you get a podcast, we are there. And and please subscribe, will you? It's free and it helps us out a great deal because we are trying to grow. We are trying to grow. And check out those dip bars. I can't wait to check it out. That's it, everybody. We'll see you next time.